just a chicken. Ring it, sing it, jaja, 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 say me to me gonna call the phone. I call the best, the best, the best, the tire. I call the best, the best, the best, the dress, the chicken in the town. Don't check for folly. Can't be no clown to speak around the town. Can't be no clown to speak around the town. That's how it is. I don't check for folly, dolly. Calling up on the Yoja Flybird, fly away. Do something, wise bird, I would say. The best, the best, the best, the best, the best, the best. The best to dress the chicken in the town. The best to dress the chicken in the town. The best to dress the chicken in the town. Ring up,
Believe it or not, that track was from 1974, one of the greatest reggae albums in my view, and in many people's view, the best dressed chicken in town. The album is by Dr. Alimantado, who sits opposite me in the studio. I should say, welcome back, Dr. Alimantado, because not only are you a citizen of Jamaica, for many years you were a citizen of Birmingham, England, and Wolverhampton, and now you're something of a citizen of the Gambia in Africa. You're a world international citizen, let's face it, Dr. Alimantado.
Yes, well, it's something like that, you know. I mean, we all should be a part of the World Organization of Liberty. But, you know, through separatism and division, I mean, you know, this is what is happening to all the people. They just come one place and they stay there, they never leave. But for Iman, I would like to trot around the world, you know.
In fact, you've been trotting since I mentioned 1974 there. Every track on that first album was a hit in reggae terms. You had tracks like Gimme Me Gun and I Killed the Barber just the other day, Poison Flower, a true story about a flower, you know, as in cooking flour, poisoning a lot of people in Jamaica. You had Can't Conquer Natty Dreadlocks, remember that one myself, a long time one, and Muhammad Ali, a tribute to Muhammad Ali on that first album as well.
Yeah, man, you know, it's like, you know, right now there's a lot of great people across the world. I regard Muhammad Ali as one of them, you know, and I think that we should pay tribute to a lot of our great people, because, I mean, we grew up about the English history as such. I mean, it's a part of their history, there's nothing wrong with it, but I mean, we have our history too. And we should, I mean, give credit to some of our brethren and sisters who have fight through hard times to really create certain situation that people can, you know, live in, you understand? And, you know, they do great things that give inspiration to other people like myself, you, and a lot of other people.
In fact, you are, in many people's view, just one of those great citizens of the world who have inspired us. I mean, in 1974, when those tracks came out, people don't actually realize now, it's almost, 25 years ago or whatever, 26 years ago, people don't realize that it was really dangerous to be a dreadlocks in Jamaica at that time. Indeed, you yourself suffered suffered the consequences of just being a Rasta man walking the street and being run over by a bus driver.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, that is totally true. I mean, that is the reason for Born for Purpose, and most of the songs that I've written and I've sung is about my life, my real life tribulations. Anyhow, it's like there was a time in Jamaica when Rasta was like an outcast. We were living in Jamaica, but we could have been living even on the moon, because we were not a part of the society according to what the society believes. We were living there, we were living in our own little thing, and we were brutalized by the police and the system at large. We were not able to live beside certain people. We were not even able to walk on certain streets in our own country. We were not able to buy things in the market because people wouldn't even sell it to us, and all those kind of things. I mean, we have suffered in Jamaica. Most of the people who they can talk a lot of good things about Jamaica, I'm not one of them. You see, I love Jamaica because, I mean, the fact that I've traveled around the world, even in Africa, in many places, I'm living in Africa now, and in many places I go, none of those places is as nice as Jamaica to me. But at the same time, there is a lot of suffering there for African people in Jamaica. The European and the half-European people who are there, they can live and they can do what they want, pretty much do what they want, even get away with murder and nothing, no comeuppance. And you, even if you don't smoke herbs, the police will stop you as a Rasta and put herb in your pocket and lock you up for it.
Hey, look, I've been put in the back of a the trunk of a police car in Jamaica, and I was just a tourist with little locks on my head and carried to the police station for 3 or 4 days before they even informed anyone of my whereabouts. It's not the best way to be transported to the police station, but listen, this is the runnings. It's a hard life out there. It's a hard life.
I mean, for me personally, right, I have to explain it to the world. I must tell it to the world. The world must know. Because, like, for example, in Rwanda, in Sierra Leone, in all those places, there are wars going on there, right? Nobody seems to turn an eye to what is going on in Jamaica. A lot of people are dying and a lot of suffering are there. And the guns are there, and they're using the situation to undermine the stability of people. I mean, a man can just come up to you and for any known reason he can shoot you for no reason at all, or for any known reason that you don't even know about. But at the same time, right, there is a lot of good people living in Jamaica, and there's a lot of good life there as well.
Well, how are you treated in Jamaica nowadays? You're talking about how it was 25 years ago and so on, but you recently returned to Jamaica to record your brand new album, your brand new CD, In the Mix Part 2 with Dr. Alimantado. When you went back, how were you treated? Was it different? I mean, you've been very harsh in your criticisms of Jamaica so far. Was it any different for you nowadays?
Well, Jamaica as a whole, it has not changed. It just take different avenues to really, you know, like launch brutality on people, because the guns are still there. I mean, nobody has took the guns out and throw them in the bottom of the sea, so they're still there. The police have not been trained properly to treat people as human beings, so those systems are still in existence. However, what I noticed from the time I reached the airport is that I'm now a celebrity. You know, I'm not an outcast anymore. I'm a person with money. You know, everybody see me on the street, they call to me, "Hey Rasta, how you doing?" and they want something. Everybody see me now as somebody with a lot of money, so they need money from me. So because of that, we are treated a little bit different. But at the same time, underneath that cover, you still have the hostility going on, because there's a lot of youths in Jamaica who wants to be Rasta and they can't be Rasta. Most of them now, even the young ones, are trimming off their dread, going into church and criticizing Rasta. You see, because, you know, the system has pushed it on them so much that now is like, say for example, 10 years ago, you would have some youth, they are really politicians, but they grow their locks, you understand, and they go out there, they kill people. People don't say it's the political part of them that is letting them do it. They say it's the lax part of them that's letting them do it, which is not true, because I'm a Rastaman all my life. I never killed anybody yet.
Well, I said it was going to be a militant session with the Dr. Alimantado. We've just had a little touch there. We're going to come back and talk about your musical career. But first, you said this was a tune that you wrote after somebody almost took your life. And indeed, all the musicians at the time, Sly and Robbie, gave up their services free.
That's true.
To help you whilst you were on crutches.
That's right.
Walking into the studio to do this tune. So if we think that there is no reason for living, you've got a couple of reasons why. of the album Born for a Purpose, the title track, A Reason for Living, with my guest, Dr. Alimantado. When I say that was a massive reggae hit in its time, trust me, 1977 or thereabouts, Tado?
Yeah. 1977 recorded and released, yeah, man.
But it sounds fresh, sounds like it was done in 99, coming on 2000.
I said, going on, real reggae music is like it lasts forever, you know. Christian, man, I see it.
Absolutely. And I should say, you know, after that first album, Best Dressed Chicken in Town, it seemed like we had to wait years and years and years before a new Tado album came out. Apart from a Jamaican release, King's Bread, that you've got with you here, that we're going to drop a tune from, I hope, in this session. But apart from that, it seemed like we had to literally wait some 5-6 years before Sons of Jah came out, which was Sons of Thunder, apologies. Right. Sons of Thunder, which was a kind of a sequel to Best Dressed Chicken in Town. Why did we have to wait these huge gaps?
No, well, you see, it's the way I make recording. You see, I never really make recording in the way of making money. I make recording from the inspiration of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie. And the way how the inspiration come and the music come, it's like, you know, I have to have something to say before I make a music. I don't want to just go there and make music just for the sake of lovey and dovey thing, you see. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I like to take time to make my production, and if you can listen to them, they sound really good, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely listening to them. I mean, you use some of the top the producers in Jamaica for the first album, people like Lee Scratch Perry, King Tubby, all legends in their own right as well. But you were the actual executive producer on all your recordings. You had, you know, full control of your music, unlike many reggae artists of the day.
Right. Well, you see, I started recording in 1967, right? But I was around
67.
67,
I don't
right?
believe it. And you still look so young and pretty.
Easy now. But you see, it's like the situation is, right? It's like I was around the recording business a long time before that. And I used to see the way how some artists was being treated by a producer. So when I entered the recording sphere, I decided that I was going to be in control of my production. So although I get assistance from other producers like Lee Perry, Bunny Lee, and so forth, I mean, most of my production is mine.
So people ask, is Dr. Alimantado a singer or a DJ? Because sometimes you hear you sing, and sometimes, like we heard just there for Born for a Purpose, you were just totally singing. There was no DJing on that. But the tune before that, Best Dressed Chicken in Town, all we heard was really DJing business. Which one is it?
Well, you know, like, as one brethren said to me in Jamaica in the early days, he said to me, well, you know, you are one of the men who can do both things. You know, you are like the like the premier, Sing J. I mean, they call it Sing J now, but me, I don't know what I call it. I just get an inspiration to sing a song. I sing the song. I get an inspiration to DJ a song.
We're going to hear some more examples of that DJing and singing in just a moment after 2020 travel from Scotland Yard. My guest is Dr. Alimantado, reggae legend.
Thanks, Dr. GLR 94.
Fingers I move it on, fingers I leave it on.
mercies of thee. Under those big wheels, for Jah. How could I forget how good thou art wide? Oh Jah Rastafari, I man sitting on myself, I am to hide thee. Yeah, you know, oh forever, let there be abundance of life. So man must respect their brother man's life for not till you say. In that dreadlock, this and that dreadlock. You don't know one, yeah, you know. Be not dreadlock, this and that dreadlock.
Well, I asked Dr. Alimantado if he was a DJ or if he was a singer. There, we got a second touch of Reasons for Living. The first touch was featuring him as a singing vocalist. The second one there with the Mighty Diamonds backing him on vocals. The good doctor did the old DJ thing for us. I think you answered my question there, Dr. Alimantado.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, when the music come to me that way, I have to do it that way. I can't do it no other way. I just said, you see.
We're just talking a moment ago, whilst the music was playing, about why you actually decided to go and live in the Gambia. I see a lot of black people who have gone to the West years and years ago always seem to return to Gambia. What is it about Gambia?
No, well, you see, it's not just Gambia, it's Africa as a whole, you know. I mean, as you know, the history about the fact we were taken away from Africa in slavery and blah blah blah. The situation is, it doesn't seem as if we're getting no payment for what we did in slavery. At the same time, it seems as though the system is trying to put us in slaves again. I mean, we've never really left slavery, really, if you really check it, because I mean, no one would say, okay, let's wipe the slate clean, give these people some land, give them some money, give them a good start, right? What they did was just to say slavery is abolished. Okay, slavery is abolished, but we have to eat, we have to drink, we have to have children, we have to have house, we have to have cars, we have to have whatever. But, you know, so we have to go out there now and struggle to make money or to make whatever it is to make a life. You understand? And it is difficult. The situation is, when most of us left Jamaica to come to Europe and America to make money, what the Europeans did instead was to infiltrate Jamaica with guns, right? And give it to the youths and let them stay down there killing each other. So we who are here, most of us really can't go back. Even in Africa, it's the same thing. Most of the people who leave Africa will never go back. They're going to die here in Europe. You understand? So the situation is, most of us want to find a place where we can go, where we can settle. And for me personally, who tried many places in Africa and so forth, I think Gambia is a place where I don't know about anybody else, but I know I could go there and I could settle with my family and cool out and, you know, praise Rastafari and live. You know, see it. Give thanks.
Anyone who listens to reggae can tell from what you're saying that you're on the sort of roots and cultural side of the reggae industry. Indeed, I was talking earlier about the albums that you had coming out. It's to my surprise, you brought a whole lot of them in. I didn't even know you had so many albums. You brought some sort of dozen or so albums here. How many albums has Dr. Alimantado actually recorded?
Well, the amount I record now is a lot. I mean, most of them will never be released in my lifetime anyways. My children will have to do that. But at the same time...
Is really that many?
The amount of albums I have out now is 11. And also I helped Sister Ika Black to produce her album. And I produced an album with Sister Ruby. So on the Keyman catalog, we have 13 albums.
13 albums altogether. Now, this album that you've got here is your brand new album. It's called In the Mix Part 2. It's an album recorded in Jamaica. It's out on Greensleeves Records, I should say.
It's on Keyman, actually, but distributed by Greensleeves.
Apologies.
Right.
And it's your own label, isn't it, Keyman?
Yeah, that's true, yeah. I mean, like, over the years, I've released music on different labels, like the ISDA, the ITOS Sound, and so forth. But, you know, the Keyman has been my permanent label now since the late 1970s.
Now, why talk about the British industry? Let's just talk about that for a second, because you came from Jamaica,
right?
And you came with a way of doing things in reggae that was perhaps different from the UK way of doing things. Was the music here? I mean, is British reggae for you very different from Jamaican reggae? And if so, what's the difference?
Right. Well, I don't think the British reggae is different from Jamaican reggae, because it's the same one Jamaican people doing it, whether they're here or in Jamaica. There's a lot of people who leave Jamaica a long time ago and they come here and they love the music that we were creating there, so they continue doing it here. Also, they have children who wants to be involved with it because they're hearing it at home and at parties and clubs and things, and they want to take part in it. So there was no difference.
But the industry, the way the industry worked here was certainly different from the way it worked in Jamaica.
I don't think there was ever a reggae industry in the United Kingdom.
Really?
No. I mean, what I think, there was a commercial entity that was going on, wherein is like the commercial people, which you could say is the basic British companies was making money from reggae, but you could say the Jamaican themselves weren't making any money, even now. I mean, the few little pounds and things that is filtered down to us is never the amount of money that the music actually make for us.
I know you've got very strong feelings about the whole reggae industry as such, and you feel that if reggae was not a Jamaican art form, which is, of course it is, if it wasn't, if it was, say, an American art form, that it would have had a lot more success than than it has had. Why do you say that?
Well, for example, take, say, rap music and hip-hop, right? Those music are derived from reggae music.
Totally.
Right? Take, say, jungle and garage and all those music, they derive from reggae music, right? And most of those music are turning around billions. But the artists themselves are making money from the music. The producers and the engineers, they are making money from the music. Reggae music, the musicians and the producers and the artists are making no money. Most of the people who are around reggae, they're actually giving their time for free. You understand? They could have been doing other things and making money from it. But because of the love for the music, they stick with it. You understand? So that's what I'm saying is, like, for us, we're still not getting anything from our production. You understand? It's the same slavery days going on, same way.
Look, Dr. Alimantado, there's so much music I want to play here. As much as I like chatting to you, I know that I'm going to get really distressed by a lot of your fans listening in if I don't play some more music. I've got so much to choose from. You spot me rotten. I was going to go straight into your latest album, but look, let's go back a year at least. This album came out in 1999. It was a sort of a sequel to the album Wonderful Time that also came out about a year ago, a year and a half ago also. It's called The Privileged Few, and this is the title track.
Oh, baye. Oh, baye, 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 baye. The privileged few.
Dr. Alimantado, the privilege of you. Talk about lyrics there, going back into the old school style. What's that? Only one pant to wear?
Yeah, man.
Only one shoe to wear, Doctor?
Yeah, man.
I'm sure those days aren't still with you. Surely not.
Well,
surely you've moved on since then.
Well, yeah, I can say I have two more, I'm a choice, but I'm not tear up no more, See?
Oh, we're all delighted to hear that. 23 minutes to 6 o'clock. This is GLR 94.9. I am Dotun Adebayo, sitting in for the Sunday best. My guest is Dr. Alimantado, Reggae legend supreme. It's been such a pleasure, and I can't say the time is running and passing, but we're going to hold you just a while longer, Doctor, because I'm going to try and tease you into doing one live and direct track from us. Something not from a CD, but something conjured up in the studio. I know you weren't prepared for it, but that's the way we run things here. I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind. But we've still got a few questions to take you through. Now, you said you've recorded 11 albums. Out of all those tracks, which is your favorite? I know there's a big dispute as to which is my favorite, but which is yours?
Well, I cannot say I have a favorite one, because you see right now, music is music, and all the music them is word sound will come from Jah, you see? And word sound is power. The thing is, I cannot really, define one and say.
But surely you must have a special soft spot perhaps for the best dressed chicken in town, which I should say was the record which kicked off Greensleeves record company. It was the very first album that Greensleeves put out, and I believe that the single as well, Born for a Purpose, was one of the very first singles that they put out. So you could say it was this record that kicked off really a large slice of the UK reggae industry as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, really and truly, it's like, we won't have the time to go through so much different, part of the industry that I have contributed to, and was the premier in pushing certain things through. But at the same time, Greensleeves, when I met them, they were just a record shop. Mm-hmm. And we take it from there.
I remember those days, a record shop just on the Shepherd's Bush roundabout, as I recall.
Well, they were in Ealing and then Chiswick before, and then they moved to Shepherd's Bush. But anyhow, the situation is, when I came to this country, it's like I came here was to set up a company. And Dub Vendors and Daddy Cool and those people were supposed to be a part of the company. However, what we discussed in Jamaica when I came here, all the things changed. And I found that instead of I setting up a company and they being shareholders in my company, I was asked to be a part of a company that they wanted to have.
That's big business for you. Hey, that's big business for you. I know that's your view of everything. I'm sure that they've got a totally different view. Let's not go down there just now. 20 minutes to 6 o'clock. We've got some travel coming up for you. Still with me, the Dr. Alimantado. I'm going to keep him here a while longer because he's going to be running off to the Gambia if we're not very careful. Dr. Alimantado, hold tight.
Born in the hospital up at Jubilee, the whole wide world them
them a addict. They say fi bubble in a this and them a addict. Me say the new style a dick and them a addict. They say them fantastic. Now me a go tell you about the politician and none of them get hooked on the election. Election time them come a put up the man, shouting down to the poor man. Come vote for we, come vote for we, come vote and we full belly. Come vote for we, come vote for we, come vote and we will take care of you. By the time the election done, all the good words and promises done. Yes, all the good words and promises done. Cause them a addict, and them they bubble in a this and them a addict. They say they take care of this and them a addict. Come make we jump in a this and them a addict. And make we bubble in a this. Now me a go tell you about the Rasta man, and then me say him have good intention. Every day him say no create Africa land. Of Babylon him say him wash him hand. Chanting chalice and praising to Jah. While the wicked outside them a laba laba and them a addict. Come make we jump in a this and them a addict. Come make we bubble in a it and them a addict. Come make we juggle this and them a addict. Them a the new style a day. Now me I go tell you about Jack and Jill. Jack swap Jill for $1,000 bill and him run gone to Sligo Bay. The Lord me said him run gone to Mandeville. Fiwa, no fi go tell him little friend named Bill. But Bill get hooked and crap. And like a duck him a go quack 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 and them a addict. Come in them juggle this and them a addict. They say fi jump in a this and them a addict. Come in we bubble this and them a addict.
GLR 94.9, the music of Dr. Alimantado, fresh music from the album The Privileged Few. I've been told to be very careful how I announce the title of this record. It's called The New Kind of Dick, as in addict. Thank you. Dr. Alimantado, that was your anti-drugs song, I take it. And it's the music is coming up to modern times now, because we're talking 1999 with that one. Then you went back to Jamaica, the end of 1999, to record your brand new album, In the Mix Part 2. Now, obviously the recording process has changed drastically since initially went into the music industry in the mid-60s, like you said, since 1967. How do you find working with all the new digital equipment? Can you still come over across well with that, or do you feel like you need to go back to the old sort of 2-track, 4-track, King Tubby mixer desk kind of style?
Well, the beautiful thing about time is that, you cannot really hold back time, you see? Time just keep running and passing, you understand? So most of the time it's like people go with the time and go with the changes, you understand? But really, we only go with what is good. Really and truly, it's like the digital music, it work, you understand? Because it's some way of really expressing your vibes. Sometimes you go with musicians. Sometimes it's like you cannot get to express yourself because a musician might have a special desire to put certain thing in your music. With the digital age, you can actually do what you like. However, the digital music is not as sweet as the music that you record with musicians, live musicians.
That is a very controversial statement, but I do take your point on that. In fact, in those days, in the days of Channel 1 studios and so on, when you initially started recording, the group would go into the studio for a session and really record a classic reggae tune in something like half an hour.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, life in general is contradictional, right? So, I mean, people will tell you don't do this and then you watch them do it, you understand? So, I mean, life in itself is contradictory, but the fact that I said music is better when it's played live is because it's true. I mean, now, because of certain demands on, say, the musicians and the artists and the company in general to be turning out it after it. Now, they have
to turn them out cheaply as well,
right? They find new ways of doing it through the digital age. The fact is that I don't see how the price has gone down with the digital age. I mean, in effect, it's actually rise. I mean, recording in Jamaica in these times, there's a lot of studios. In those days, there was a few studios around, like the Dynamics, the Federal, the Randys, the RJ, the King Tubby's,
all of which you recorded at
Studio One, yeah, and all that. The situation is now there are a lot of studios in Jamaica, and you have to choose the one you want. There's studios in the country, there's studios in the town, and but I find, recording is just recording. If you love music and you want to make music, it don't matter how you make it, as long as it's made and it has the finished product that you want to be there.
Nevertheless, on your new album, you use some of select musicians. I mean, as well as yourself on bass guitar, you use men like Black Steel on rhythm guitars, Ja Bunny on lead guitars and congas, Ras Keith, and yourself, of course, always been a great congo player yourself. I mean, why doesn't the Dr. Alimantado do an unplugged album?
Well, I mean, you see, what the In the Mix Part 2 is about, like, myself really, like, in combination with the music itself, rather than with an harmony or something. I mean, like, I've had now, see, In the Mix Part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And most of those are just Dr. Alimantado in the mix with the music. The next track will give you an idea of what it's all about.
Oh.
The big K, the big K, the big K, the big K, the big K.
Hello there. You're in tune to the Man Dub Album Part 2. Welcome to the House of Music. Love your mama, love your father. That's a day long. That's a day long. Respect your feelings. That's a day long. That's a day long. In the big K, the big K, the big K.
To the Big D, that's me in the studio with the Big A, Dr. Alimantado. His recording company is called Keyman Records. The Big K, as you hear, sounding as fresh as it did back in the day. Yes, yes, yes. I can't even believe that this is a 1999 year 2000 style dub of my life. The Dr. Alimantado in the mix with the music, in the mix with the music. Dr. Alimantado, this sounds good, I got to say.
Yeah, man, for real,
So is the future looking fresh, and can we expect to see more stuff from the Doctor even after he goes back to the Gambia now?
Yeah, man, it's like, I'm sure even, maybe many years after I leave this earth, there will still be release coming from I, so You know, you should be always coming.
You sound like one of those rap artists like Puff Daddy or no. What I meant was Tupac and Biggie Smalls and all those. Long after they're gone.
But you know, even Bob Marley. You know, what I mean, you know, let's
this
just
is true.
get closer to art. You know,
in fact, Bob Marley keeps doing duets with all these people that weren't even born at the time. Anyway, I should say that you have just become a father.
Yeah, man.
Like myself, you're a new father.
Yes,
gosh, at your young and tender age, I should say that your wife is a legend in the reggae industry herself.
I true that.
Initially as Sister Love.
That's right.
And in fact, it's not so surprising really, because just the same way as you were the guy that launched Green Sleeves Records with your album Best Dressed Chicken in town,
right, yeah.
she also launched the Lovers section of Green Sleeves Records as Sister Love in those days.
Yeah, with Goodbye Little Man, yeah.
Nowadays, she's going under the name of Ika Black.
That is true, yes.
And her album is called Special Love.
Special Love, yeah,
This
man.
track I'm about to play, many of the listeners will remember it from way back.
Yeah, man. Goodbye Little Man, of course.
I was going to introduce it myself, but what better way to have an introduction
You're gonna see
but
it.
from the doctor?
Yeah, man.
In session.
Couldn't I keep you satisfied?
little man. He's in fact a huge, large man in the studio, but unfortunately we've got to say goodbye to my guest, Dr. Alimantado. Tado, it's been a session and a half. I should say whole of London is going out saying yes. Thank you for coming in. And what's all this you're saying that you're going to be in a session live sometime this year?
Yeah, well, we're putting a band together now that we're hoping we'll take for the road, because I have not done much concert in my whole career.
And don't we know it?
Something, so
don't we know it? It's about time you came back.
Like to put some,
In fact, I thought you were doing a concert one year when I went to Carnival, and every single wall on the Carnival was "Free South Africa," says Dr. Alimantado. You remember that one?
Yeah, man. Of course. You see it. That's how it runs. We have to do it. That's how it works.
So definitely sometime this year we're going to be seeing you in session in London.
I don't know about London, but I know definitely in Europe.
You know about London. Please come to London and let us know the news first on GLR, and we'll pass it out. You're going to be off to Gambia this weekend.
Yeah, between this week and next week I should be on my way down, you know.
Just make sure that we've got all your addresses out there, and we can get hold of you on your websites as well. Plenty websites.
Well,
Dr.
yes,
Alimantado.
True Greensleeve, True Greensleeve website, and through there's a few other websites out there that is established for the Tado.
What can I say? But it's been a pleasure. You're listening to the Sunday Best with me, Dotun Adebayo. Still another hour of the show to come. Once more, thank you very much, Dr. Alimantado.
Yes, thanks. I'd like to send greetings to my wife and my children, and to Anne-Marie and Rankin Miss P and Jetstar and Greensleeve and you and your family and everybody else.
Thank you very
Jalov
much.
And Selassie and Rastafari and praises and brethren and sistren. Remember.
News for London from the BBC on GLR 94.9 FM.